So our next topic is called anchoring the score for the performance. So we watch the practice and the competition starts now. And we got the skaters on the start list. So what does anchoring the score means and what it represents for the work of judges? Who wants to take on this one, guys? Lincoln?
Oh, okay, yeah. The anchor in the score. Let's say, like we already talked about. Like we watched practice, right? And then what was the run? Like we know they could be done, and the certain skater they do the runs, and we came up with a number. Let's say we came up with a 70 something, a 75, or a 70 or an 80. Let's say that was a great run, right? Like a really good run. So we start off with that, because we you kind of have um to watch not only like the finals are easier though. Like I feel like it, like when it but when it's a heat an event with the 80 skaters, whatever. Like you kind of have
Hmm.
to anchor, like you kind of have to know, uh of course, that skaters run kind of what we watch the practice and then the certain score. But you have to know the judges. Actually, when we talk, we have to know who is coming after that skater in the same heat and in the whole event, like the whole
Hmm.
all the, I don't know, 10 heats that we have. We're going to start with the first score. So you kind of have to know, like, uh who's coming next, what are the skaters are you watching in practice uh are gonna do, like based on the practice. So you kind of have an idea. So you kind of have to come up. We have a number as a judge, of like a panel of judges. If that certain skater do this run, and then after that, if is there more skaters that the level of skating it's higher up or lower per se, like depending on their performance. But you kind of have to have an idea. We got someone that it's just like a skating the qualifying, for an example. Um, and then he has a 75, and then like the next heat that comes up, does that heat has like some heavy hitters, like some heavy skaters that could potentially uh have a higher score than that. Let's say like this guy had a 75, and the next heat have a skater. They have like, so like a skaters are actually in the rankings. Let's say the world skate rankings, they're already top 10. So that skater is capable of having a higher score than that. Like let's say a 75, the next skater, if you give him a 75, it's not accordingly with his level of skating. So the next skater is going to have a 82 or a 80 something. So you kind of have to level that. The first score that you put in, it's going to be the base for your entire rankings. So
Hmm.
you kind of have to make sure that first score it's relevant to that level of skating.
Okay, so it's basically like after watching the practice is setting the bar for that type of
Right.
performance
Yep.
as a measure, kind of
Yep.
as a measuring unit. So everything that comes after, you go like, all right, we scored this all together as a judging panel on that point evaluation. Is it better than this or is it lower?
Is it lower? Yeah.
And then go throughout the whole event with that.
Yeah. And
Uh,
you wanted to make sure that that set score it's fair,
hmm,
because you can't you're not gonna and then you watch that anchoring score the whole time, pretty
hmm.
much. You kind of have to watch it. You go back and forth on the list, on the rankings, like, okay, so did this skated like this way? Okay, is was he better than this guy, or was he, you know, not so good? So you kind of you watch that anchor. That's the anchor score is very important.
And a question, guys. Can we anchor more than just one when, especially when it comes to big events? And we just discussed that, anchoring of the score is happening in the beginning of the competition. So can we do more anchored scores?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're a judge, in your mind, you anchor a lot of different scores. There's certain runs that you will remember in your head. So the first score is basically the first anchor that's going to go, but there'll be certain milestones. There'll be certain people that are leading at certain times where you'll be able to remember those particular runs, and they will act as a yardstick for your next scores. You know, someone that may be leading maybe the first leader who may last skate at heat number 1, they may last 4 heats in that position. But after 4 heats of that person, he will be the leader and the person that you will judge the rest of the skaters off. If they're better, they will go ahead of him, but if they're not, they'll go below or, you know, a corresponding place. But
Okay.
in that, we'll have different anchors across different parts of the competition.
It also kind of brings up the importance of the notes, the judging notes, because to be able to go between the heats and compare with the anchored scores, you need to have material to look at, and you need to be able to read it and actually compare it together.
Yeah, definitely,
Right.
man. I think when you do that, if you're going a skater in heat number 4 and you want to look at a skater in heat number 1, if you don't look at your notes, there's every chance that you can mix up the skater that you think you're comparing in heat number 1. You blend their runs together because they're 4 heats ago. So you think, oh, that guy was probably about the same as this guy. And if you think back really quickly, you may blend all 3 of his runs together. So when you compare those 2 skaters, you're not comparing their 2 runs. You're comparing a blurred mix of your memory of the first skater. So that's why you always need to go back to your notes and read it, so you know exactly what that first skater did with you're comparing to the skater in the 4th heat.
Okay, great to know, guys. So talking about anchoring the score, this brings us to the next exercise video that we have, specially prepared for anchoring the scores. So we watch the practice. Now we gonna watch a simultaneous run, and let's try to anchor the score for it. Okay? So judges, on your positions, please. Gentlemen, let's get ready for some anchoring.